Hello, Miss. Hello, everyone. Today, with my group compounded by Camila Berna, Angela Acuña, and me, Juan Reynoso, we are going to cover the research about families and educators supporting bilingualism in early childhood by Maria Victoria Rodriguez. It is important to mention that she was a professor of the Department of Early Childhood and Childhood Educators at Lehman College in City University of New York. The purpose of this presentation is to cover the purpose of the study, the type of research as and its instruments, its features, the theoretical framework, the evidence, and its results. The purpose of the study was to understand how three Latino families helped their young children become bilinguals in English and Spanish language. In addition, the research wanted to know why bilingualism was important to them, what strategies they used, and what challenges they faced. Some important points described in this research are that was a qualitative research. That means that the focus was on understanding people's experience, opinions, and behaviors instead of using numbers. For example, in this research, the researchers didn't count how many children became bilingual. She wanted to understand how and why families made their choices. In addition, this type of study was ethnographic, that is a type of qualitative research where the researchers observe and interact with people in the real environment. For example, in this research, the researchers visited their families at home and observed how they spoke with their children. And finally, the sample size refers to the number of the participant of the study. In this case, the sample was three Latino families. The researchers focus on that is a small group. However, the study was in depth of these families.
The researchers select three Latino families living in New York City who were interested in raising their children bilingually. Each family had a young daughter between 15 months and 3 years old. To collect the data, the researcher visit the families over a period of 2 to 3 years, spending between 40 and 70 hours with each one. She used several methods, including interviews with parents, siblings, and grandparents, audio recordings of every conversation in both Spanish and English, and observation of daily routines like watching TV, playing, or going to daycare. After gathering all this information, she carefully read and coded the interview transcripts to identify common themes such as the family's motivations for bilingualism, the strategies they used to teach language, and the challenges they faced.
The main theory used in this study was language socialization. This theory explains how children learn a new language through social interaction. This means communicating with others, with their parents, and people in their community. The key terms explained in this study was first language socialization. This is the process where children learn a new language and its culture through social interaction. This means, for example, a child learns how to say gracias, not just as a word, but as a form to show politeness and respect, like as a cultural value. The other key terms is social environment. This is people and situation around a child that influence their learning, such as the family, parents, school, and the community. For example, if parents speak Spanish at home, the child learns how to speak Spanish in their daily life. But if teachers speak English at school, the child learns that language at school.
An important characteristic of this study is understand how the theory connects to the study. First, according to the theory, the parents play a key role in helping children become bilingual. In the case of parents, they don't just teach words, they teach values, beliefs, and identity of their culture through language. In addition, The way the parents speak and interact with their children shapes on how those children learn and use both languages. And in the case of the study, the three Latinos parents tried to socialize their children into two languages and two cultures, Spanish for the family identity and English for the school and society. In terms of supporting evidence, our research in neuroscience support this theory. According to Kuhl in 2007, babies learn new languages best through face-to-face interactions, not from TV or recordings. This means that real conversation with parents are essential for language learning. For example, when parents spoke directly with their children in Spanish, the children learn more effectively than when they only watch Spanish cartoons.
The results show that all three Latino families hope their children will become bilingual because they believe it will benefit them cognitively, culturally, and economically. They want their children to stay connected to their roots while also thriving in an English speaking society. To achieve this, the families choose to speak Spanish at home, rely on a school to teach English, and encourage the use of both languages. However, things didn't unfold exactly as they expect. The children learn English much faster than Spanish, and even though parents consistently use Spanish, the children often answer in English because it was the language they heard the most at school, on TV, and from older siblings. The parents also face challenges they hadn't anticipated. Spanish didn't develop as naturally as they thought it would. Older siblings influence the younger ones by speaking English, and the families struggle to find strong bilingual programs in their neighborhoods. Overall, the biggest difficulty was that the children understood Spanish better than they could speak it, a situation known as passive bilingualism. While the families hope for productive bilingualism, meaning strong speaking ability in both languages, achieving that goal proved to be much harder than they imagined. To achieve this, the families choose to speak Spanish at home, rely on a school to teach English.
About the meaning of this result, well, first of all, this study shows that raising bilingual children is not that easy. It requires more than just speaking two languages at home. It needs continuous support from families and from educators and the community. If children are surrounded mostly by English, they may lose interest or confidence in their native languages. This study also highlights the social pressures that can exist between English and speaking countries. English is often seen as a language of success, while Spanish or other minority languages are undervalued. And to change this, schools and educators must work together to make both languages equally important. Real world applications are also important. Schools should promote bilingual teachers, bilingual programs. Parents can use songs, stories, and online tools to keep their home languages alive. Also, communities can create spaces to where children can practice both languages in a natural way. There are some limitations and future research needed. This study was small, it was only 3 families, all with young girls, so the results can be generalized to all Latino families. Also, future research could study more families and include boys and also different backgrounds. Researchers could also explore how schools and communities can better support the bilingual education. So, this study concludes that bilingualism in early childhood is possible, but it requires more planning, persistence, and collaboration. So, families can do it alone. Educators and communities must also value and support both languages to promote a better bilingual education.